Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show. What up, man? How you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right, not too bad. Now, we're about to do my favorite holiday of the year, the E3 recap. We know this is my favorite holiday of the year. We know this is where I have the most fun, and I think I had a better E3 than you did.
Yeah.
Because as a console player, they gave console gamers what they wanted.
Yeah.
They loaded us up with games. VR had a great showing. For the PC game show, I did watch it.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the PC game show. But a lot of what the PC game show was stuff that I was going to get on console. There was not a lot of games that were... There were some exclusives.
Yeah.
But not as many as I wanted to see showcase. I would have liked to have seen a lot. And I think the thing is that with Steam, you don't need E3 for PC games because every month is a PC exclusive for Steam. I can always open my Steam account and see something. Would
yeah, and a lot of the things that were on the PC gaming show were just retreads of stuff that had already been released, or
like
it's
Ark.
already like in a playable state where you can go in and pay money to start early access on it.
Yeah.
The showing of the RX 470 and the 460 was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Although I'm starting to believe that whole card line is just redundant at this point, because the level of performance in that card set is the same level of performance as the 900 series from NVIDIA, and the prices on those NVIDIA cards just went down because the 1080s came out. So I mean, the 480 is okay because it's the equivalent of basically a 970.
Right.
It's AMD needs to hurry up and drop their next chipset, which isn't going to happen until like November, I think.
Okay, so if you were building a PC today, we were going to build a gaming, desktop. Which one of them would you go with?
Are we talking like 970 or 480, or are we talking?
Yeah, I mean, everything they showed that we saw that we know is out on the market and that's going to be available. Would you just do the 970, or would you go ahead and do the 480? Which one was cheaper?
Technically, the 480 is cheaper, although, like I said, by the time the 480 is actually out in mass market,
the
970 prices are going to have bottomed out because they already just did a price drop on them.
How much are 970 going for now, roughly?
I think about 300, maybe less, maybe 250, and then the 480 is 199. The difference though is that I think the 480 is using GDDR5. Whereas the 970 is using GDDR4 or GDDR5, just regular GDDR5.
Okay.
But the 480 comes in a 4 gigabit and an 8 gigabit flavor, whereas the 970 only comes in 4 gig. And there's the whole NVIDIA debacle about the 970 is only 3.5 gig because one of the memory controllers been chopped in half, so there's 4 gigabit of actual memory, but only 3.5 gigabit is usable up to a certain point, which that's been done to death. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think if you wanted to go with new technology and you wanted to make sure that you had enough VRAM and you wanted to be VR ready, you can go with a 970, or you can go with a RX 480. You can go with a 970 if you would rather have NVIDIA, but you'll get a little bit less memory.
Okay, cool. I like that. All right, because I knew when I watched the show, because of us doing the podcast, I'm trying to keep up on the PC front. So I was really kind of watching it, and I was just like, it's a lot of the same stuff I've seen on the consoles.
Well, that's the thing, is that's what you're going to see, is because that's the only... Everything that's being produced now, unless it's a PC exclusive, that just mainly means that the consoles haven't come knocking at its door yet.
Right.
Is the same thing that's going to be released on consoles. So, like, if you jump to the Ubisoft portion of the show, like that bird game that they showed off on Oculus Rift, they're also going to be releasing that on PlayStation VR.
Right.
So I mean, it almost is kind of redundant to have a PC show if all of the companies that are mainly released for consoles are also going to be releasing a PC version, but don't want to do their game release in two places. They're just going to do it in one.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I mean, I watched it and I was just like, okay. But here's my thing. Now, I do think the whole thing that I liked about Microsoft was that whole, hey, buy the digital copy from us and get the free Windows 10 version of the PC for free. Now, that's actually smart marketing on their part. I really think that's a great move on Microsoft's part.
Microsoft is also, in addition to doing that, they've also stated that they want to start putting games onto Steam again. Like they used to release games on Steam a long time ago. Then they tried the Microsoft Live bullshit. Yeah. That failed. Now they're trying to do Windows Store, but they realize that people don't like the Microsoft Windows Store, so they're going to try to start releasing things on Steam. And I think for pure PC players, people who aren't going to bother with buying outdated, trashy hardware, they're just going to try to buy it from from Steam if they can, because the platform's a bit more open. It allows modding. That's one of the things that Microsoft has said they're going to correct about the Windows Store platform is that currently the games come as one single package, and that package does not allow for easy modding. Like you can't mod it at all because it's all encrypted.
Okay, did not know that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of weirdness with the Microsoft Windows Store games, but hopefully Microsoft will get it ironed out. I think for someone in your position who's going to probably have an Xbox Scorpio or whatever they want to call it, the Xbox One S. Yeah. Being able to buy it on both platforms and being able to play their game where they want to, whenever they want to, is going to be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it opens it. Well, I'm a guy who's, let's face it, I pretty much own everything. Yeah. I really came to that conclusion. I was having a discussion with the wife, and she says, look, you got a 2DS, you got a Vita, you got a PS4. You're pretty much coming back to the Xbox. I mean, I think she's made peace with it that there will be an Xbox One. And I thought about going out and buying one now. They just dropped the price down to $279. Everybody was like, slow down, don't do it. Wait till the PlayStation, the Xbox S comes out, the Xbox One S, because that's the new small version before the Scorpio comes out. And they said, then you buy, then the regular Xbox, the fat ones are going to probably be $249. The small is going to be $299. And I was like, and I don't need the system right now. Let's be honest. I don't need it now. Don't have time to play it now. Yeah. But it would be neat to have it in the house because there are some games coming to it that I saw Microsoft had that were like, hey, I want to play those games. And in fact, let's go into that. My number one game going to Xbox One exclusive that I really want to get my hands on, it was a tie between two games, Scalebound and the new Dead Rising.
I saw the new Dead Rising. I haven't seen Scalebound. What was that one about?
Scalebound is a legitimate, straight-up JRPG. It is insane looking. Giant beast battles. It was like, it really looked great. It looked like they were really... they had announced it once before, but what shocked me was like they had announced it and then it disappeared. Like I never saw anything again. And so for this time, for us to see it at E3 and then all of a sudden, hey, there's actually something here to see. This is actually pretty neat. I was impressed with that one. I really liked what I saw with that. It just looks like my kind of game. Big, huge, geeky JRPG fan. And that's usually why I own Sony systems or why I own a Nintendo handheld. JRPGs are going to be concentrated on the Vita, the 3DS, or the PS4. There's your JRPG rigs. Because even now, the stuff that's finally starting to get on Steam is the stuff that's a couple years old. NIS is now starting to make a commitment to try to get a lot more of their games to PC. I'm going to probably I think I'm going to be about 2 years away before it's, simultaneous release. And then at that point, then we'll make a determination about, what would I get different if it goes to PC. But right now, it's not JRPGs on that platform. Not really a contender for me right now, unless I'm playing an MMO, and I'm not a big MOBA fan. I'm not a big MMO fan. I don't really do a lot of MOBA, so I'm gonna stick to the console for my JRPGs. But still, and that's another one that's going to be Xbox, Windows 10 available. So I liked it. Dead Rising looks great. We're bringing Frank back. I think Frank's one of the most prolific characters from the Dead Rising universe. It was neat seeing he's coming back. I was really liking that. I think Dead Rising 4 is it's just going to be great, man. And they're talking about a December release for that one, I think.
Yeah, December 6, 2016, Xbox One and PC.
Sweet. See, that's another one of those ones that's going to go to Bo. This is one of those where it's like, I'm almost telling you, I think I would still play it on the Xbox One But then again, I could just play it with an Xbox One controller on Steam. I mean, I'm gonna still use a controller. I'm not mouse and keyboard in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those games that I feel I love with a controller.
Yeah.
It's a controller game.
You could pick up a Steam controller.
True, very true. And well, I've been playing around with yours, and I'm starting to get a little used to it. So that's definitely. I haven't said that it's not going to happen, but once again, this is one of those things where if I do go ahead and drop the money and build this new rig and pick up the Xbox One, that might be one of those titles where it's going to be really convenient for me to drop down to get the digital version and then have it in 2 places.
So long as this initiative from Microsoft is successful and they continue to actually do release the games that are coming out on the Xbox on the PC, I don't see a reason why anybody should ever own an Xbox One or a Scorpio or whatever you want to call.
Yeah, that's going to be their new system. The Scorpios, I think. Okay, let's talk about this. I think this is dumb. I want to say that. Why would you tell me this is? I don't have a bias toward the systems. I know a lot of people think, hey, I hated the 360. I thought it was a shitty system that burnt up, and I could never understand why Americans had this fanboy love for a system that broke that fucking much. I mean, they had a 49% red ring rate, and it was proven in a court, like there was a class action lawsuit against them. 49% of the systems that they had put out in the market, they knew were going to red ring, knew it was going to be an issue. You still put the system out because we want to get out there before Sony. So you beta tested your system with your consumer base.
Yeah.
And to me, I'd already went through bullshit with the first Xbox when the 360 came out because Xbox said, hey, we're still going to support the original Xbox. We have a 4-year plan to support this while we're working on the 360. And 6 months into it, they shit on us. They basically cut all game production for the regular Xbox, and it all went to the 360. So I was like, I got to that point where I was like, Microsoft has a bad taste in my mouth of saying one thing and then doing a damn another. And I'm one of those guys, I vote with my dollar. If you piss me off enough times, you just don't get my money anymore. I just don't support your products. And that was how I felt about the 360. My kids won out. We ended up with a 360. They played it way more than I did. In the games that I did play, of course, JRPGs, Blue Dragon, Infinite Undiscovery, I think got some love from me. I did play there was one game, Brink.
Yeah.
I want to say I played Brink a little bit. I got on it.
Good.
Yeah, I enjoyed Brink way more on the PS3, but I think it was because I had 30-something friends playing it on the PS3. Yeah. And we all leveled up together and really put a lot of hours into it. And I still think that game had a lot more potential. I would have much rather have seen it been a PC-only game because I think it has so much potential. And there was so much more they could have done with that. I just felt like that one it didn't get enough love. What else did I see? Microsoft, Cuphead. One of their digital titles. I think that one's looking good to me.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It looked really good. I kind of was interested in playing it. I know it's coming out on Steam, and it's also coming out on the Xbox at the same time.
Yes.
But if you want to get back to the Project Scorpio stuff, Microsoft has, with this generation, as well as Sony, they've basically said, okay, PC hardware is superior. We're just going to use PC hardware from now on. It's easier for our development, the people who are developing our games for our systems to develop for x86 hardware. They've been doing it for 30 or 40 years now. So let's just do that. So in that vein of let's just do that, Microsoft is taking it one step further. They're taking Windows and they're just spreading it across to their console.
Right.
And then they're turning the games into universal Windows apps. So they will literally run on the Xbox, on the PC. Mm-hmm. If the phone has enough hardware on it, it'll run on the phone. If a tablet has enough hardware on it, it'll run on a tablet. It'll run on any of their Surface designed things. So long as it has enough power, you'll be able to run it so long as it's running Windows.
Right.
Which is an advantage that Sony does not have. Because
at all. None.
Sony can't crack that market. The only thing that they could really do is do streaming from the PlayStation to the PC, but there's no way for them to sell games on the PC market. So the only thing that they can really do now is try to pander to the people who buy their systems already and try to lock up as many exclusive titles as they can to try to keep afloat.
Oh yeah, no, that's been their game plan for a while.
So Project Scorpio is basically them just updating the hardware but keeping the same operating system, the same way that you would on a PC. And you swap out your motherboard, you swap out your video card, your operating system stays the same no matter what.
I'm surprised you didn't say highest quality pixels, because you drove me freaking nuts after the Scorpio.
The fucking highest. Oh, god damn it. Why did they... I okay.
I knew what button to push. I knew what button to push.
There is some argument that you could make about the highest quality pixels remark that doesn't make it sound stupid. But off the cuff, it just sounds dumb as hell. Now, if you want to talk about highest quality pixels, if you go and look at what NVIDIA is doing with their memory bandwidth on their graphics processors right now, they are basically taking the image and saying, okay, which pixels in this are all the same per frame, and then we're going to compress that down. So all the pixels that are gray, we just need one representation of gray and then a grid that tells us where those pixels are so that we can provide more memory bandwidth by compressing the image as it's being rendered. That's what they're talking about highest quality pixels, that they can render those pixels fast enough to do 4K at 60 frames a second without having to use that type of compression technology. That's where the highest quality pixels line comes from. But it's just dumb as shit.
The minute you saw it or heard that line, I swear before God, it was like I smelled the smoke of your brain just catching fire.
Fucking overheating.
Because I was over on one tower and I was kind of minding my business and watching it, and it was like to my left. You were over to my left in the studio, and I just knew that line came out, and it's like he is melting down somewhere in this studio. And no sooner had I said it, you had already, like, I guess Reddit had already started just in on this.
Yeah, it's
they were lighting him on fire for that one. But I did think, I mean, here's my thing. I thought it was stupid. Why would you show me your slim system and then announce the new system? But there's no new system coming anytime soon. So we really shouldn't even talk about the new system. Do we really need to talk about it? I mean, we knew that Sony's been talking about it in the press, but they didn't show shit.
Microsoft is trying to get ahead of the game on Sony. So what they're doing is they're saying, Sony's been teasing new hardware. We have it. Here it is. This is when we're releasing it. Like this, it's going to be coming in 2017 sometime.
Yeah, I think that's what
probably
they were looking at.
In time for Christmas 2017, or maybe during the summer. They would be smart if they got it out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to wait till Christmas. I mean, yeah, most companies will release it and then make it the hottest item in Christmas, 2017. But yeah, man, I mean, let's face it, your Xbox One is getting outsold still this late in the game.
Here's the thing.
It's crazy.
This system, with its capabilities, what it's going to be able to do is it's going to be able to bring the head-mounted displays from HTC and from Oculus into the living room. It's also going to provide enough processing power that if they ever actually do their Project HoloLens as a commercial toy product for the home, it's going to have enough processing power to be able to handle it. Because that thing, that AR system, it has its own internals, but it also needs to be hooked up to a system. Like it has its own system on chip that's built into it that it's going to be able to use to display things, but it's not fast enough to do everything that it should be capable of. Microsoft, that's another thing that was weirdly absent. Like they just didn't even bother to show any progress on Project HoloLens between last year and this year. I know that it's coming out as a commercial product for businesses, but they haven't shown any kind of a roadmap or any release date or anything for it for home systems, which is just fucking strange.
But what they did show, I mean, they showed some. I mean, okay, let's talk about this. Microsoft had some quality exclusives. Now, when it comes to racing games, there's only two racing games anybody ever talks about: Forza and Gran Turismo.
Yeah,
I mean, no disrespect to any
on
of
the consoles. That's on the
Yeah.
console system. There is one for PC that's blows both of them out of
Which
the water.
one is that one?
Project Cars.
I've seen that. I have seen it, but at one time that was. I think they were going to dumb that down, and it was going to the PS4. I don't know whatever happened to it, but I do believe that was one of the things that they were talking about before. But I do know when it comes to me console racing, Gran Turismo it's almost too real to the point where it's not even fun anymore.
Gran Turismo is a simulator.
Where arcade racers, Forza, a gorgeous arcade racer. It's fun. It's the game I want to play with my friends. It's also an exclusive. But out of the racing games, and this is why I'm not a. I mean, yeah, I buy more Sony products because they sell more of the games I want to play. But that is a game that is on both systems that I really do enjoy. I really, really enjoy Forza. Love Forza.
Yeah.
The other one, there was one that Sea of Thieves. That one, the pirate game, where it's like a multiplayer pirate game. That looked pretty badass. It looked fun. I don't know how you felt about that one.
It looked like another game that I had seen for the PC that's actually, I think, in beta right now. But it's basically just each person who connects into the game is a member of the crew, and one person assumes the helm, and one person assumes, the lookout. Some people are oarsmen, some people are tending the sails, some people are shooting cannons, things like that. And you have to work as a team to destroy the other team's ship. That's what it boils down to. It looked really interesting, but like I said, it looks like a game that's already coming to PC.
Right.
That I'm blanking completely on the name on. Only the one that's for the PC is the graphics are more realistic, whereas this one, the graphics are more cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, you can sit around on the island and drink beer before you go out on the boat, and then you can go on the boat drunk.
Yeah, I'm gonna be drinking beer on my chair as I play the game. So yeah, I guess it's nice to know that we and my video game character are gonna have something in common because we're both gonna be raging drunks on a boat. Gears of War, of course. I love Gears of War. It was probably one of my favorite 360 games. Mm-hmm. It was one of those games that I remember the first time there was this mission where you're in the first game, and you're like in this like transport vehicle, and you got to man this gunner, and these bats are flying down on you. I hated that level, but I've never forgotten how much that game just made me sweat when I played it. I loved Gears of War. So I'm kind of happy to see that that's coming back. Still not, I mean, I've already told you, my two favorite games, Scalebound, Dead Rising. Dead Rising, I think, is going to get it. It's going to be my number one. The game that blew my freaking mind of E3, my whole E3 was made by this one game. God of War 4.
It looks very interesting. I never actually played any of the other God of War games. I think mainly because they were just console exclusives.
It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
I have watched other people play God of War, and it seemed like it was probably a pretty interesting game. This one, if they release it on PC, if it's not like an exclusive for consoles, I'll probably play it.
I'm going to tell you right now, God of War is one of my favorite games. This started back in the PS2 days. One of my buddies, a guy named Tyson Carthel, got me to play it. Kept telling me, man, you need to get on this game. I finally tried it when it came to the PS3. I still kept playing, when the God of War 3 came out. So God of War 4, I really liked everything I saw about it. It was the game. And here's the thing. We live in a day and age with social media. You can't keep secrets when it comes to game development. Nobody knew that game was coming.
Yeah.
Nobody. It came out of left field. And I mean, I heard a lot of people say, oh man, Sony had the best show, And I was like, yeah, really? Here's my thing. I own almost all the systems. So therefore, all I really cared about were games. Like there were games that won the show for me.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a certain brand. But that game, kicked my ass. But there is one game that is exclusive. I don't know if this is going to be exclusive. I hope it's not. There is a game going to the Xbox, and I hope it goes to PC. There was called We Happy Few.
Yeah, that one's actually being released on Steam Early Access next month.
I'm doing it, then. Yeah. I'm done. That was some BioShock creepy shit, and I was like, raging hard on for that game.
Oh, yeah.
So excited for that game. There's nothing they could... So what are we looking at? June? Oh, so I see.
That's June 16th or July 26th on Xbox One. This June, that's the early access release on Steam.
Okay, so I need to be checking Steam out here over the next coming weeks. All right.
It kind of reminds me of the dystopian novels and stuff like that, like Ray Bradbury and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on a particular drug that makes them happy. The thing that I couldn't get out of my brain is there's a short film that was made a long time ago. I want to say like 2003 or 2004. Mm-hmm. It's called More. Mm-hmm. and it reminded me of this. Like it's a story about this little guy who lives in a very unhappy place, and everybody's unhappy, and the cities looks like garbage, and etc.
Right.
He creates these goggles that when you take some of the happiness out of your stomach, like he opens up his stomach and there's a little light in there, and he takes some of it out and he puts it into these goggles, and he puts the goggles on, and then suddenly everything looks magical and everybody's happy. But and then he starts selling these to everybody, and that's what this reminded me of. It's just like the guy who takes the goggles off and looks around and goes, everything is still shit,
but we can pretend that it's not.
Yeah,
and I loved it. I loved it. No, that is, I don't know if you've ever played BioShock.
Oh yeah, I have. Oh yeah.
So you already know the vein.
So BioShock grew out of System Shock 1 and 2, out of Looking Glass Software. I played all of those fucking games,
and I love every single one of them.
Yeah,
and that's just that weird, creepy ass vibe. Everything about that game just, it struck a chord. It was like, okay, you remember, I was about to go buy, like, I was like, damn it, I'm going to get an Xbox One for lunch. And my buddy, Adrian Oliva, Mr. Broliva himself, wrote me that message. Like, he read my mind. I think he was in Dallas at the time. And he was like, sent me this message like, do not go buy an Xbox One. All this shit is coming to PC. And I was like, why did he just send me this message out of nowhere?
It's
like,
fate.
Why are you shitting on my dream? I thought you and him probably were talking. I was like, is Brandon friends with Adrian? No. They're assholes. I really was, man. It was like out of nowhere he sent me that message. I couldn't quit laughing. We saw Prey. You hated Prey. Because it's not the original Prey.
I just don't see a reason why it needed to be named Prey. Other than them trying to cash in on name recognition, there was nothing that connected that game to the original or the sequel footage that I had seen from Human Head when I was at QuakeCon several years ago.
You know what I liked? We had just talked about how we wanted to see Prey.
Yeah.
We were talking about, hey, here's a game that they should reboot. And, I mean, to see it, we were like, oh, great, they're bringing back Prey. And then all of a sudden I watched the trailer and I went, well, it's not bad, but that's not the Prey that, that...
This time looping, weird, like, shadow animals coming to kill you when your eye keeps getting worse every time you go back in time when you inject shit into your face. It has a really weird vibe, and I'm definitely going to play it. I'm not going to pass it up.
Okay, cool.
But it's not Prey. That's not Prey.
Oh, I know another one. I'm probably the only person that was excited about it. Halo Wars. I had to be the only person excited about Halo Wars 2. I love real-time strategy, and I love the whole idea of the Halo universe as a real-time strategy, and I have to be one of 5 people in America that actually enjoyed the original Halo Wars.
I think it's less than 5 people.
No, there were 3 cousins and 2 friends. It was 3 cousins and 2 friends. And I may be one of those cousin accounts. I think I had 2 accounts. But no, that was one of the games it's like, hey.
I would definitely pick that one up on PC. If you're going to play a real-time strategy game, at least play it on a system.
Not even a question of where I was going to play that. Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Let's do some of the Ubisoft VR games. Because they showed off 2, I believe.
Which 2 you wanted to talk about?
So they showed off the Star Trek Bridge Crew, which that's fantasies come true. Like, that's the only thing that...
The biggest nerdgasm of E3.
Jesus. It was like that scene with Randy Marsh in the porn in South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah,
Just a collective orgasm for the entire fucking internet.
One of my buddies is I'm going to say his name, Cody Kenning. Guy at Amarillo, used to be one of my assistant managers with the GameStop family. Guy's an IT specialist now. That's his thing. He left GameStop. I'm pretty sure when he saw that, he started crying silently. Yeah. That has been his dream for years.
So now you're going to be able to basically assume the Bridge Crew. This is basically like that pirate game, but for Star Trek.
Yeah, no.
Everybody gets to inhabit a particular person on the bridge. Somebody's the captain, somebody's the pilot, somebody's the science officer, someone is tactical, someone is, etc. As it goes down, I think you can have up to 5 people on the crew of the bridge.
Look, you want to talk about a game that's going to bring your boy over into the VR on PC? There you go. That's the one where you say, hey, have you already built your tower? Yeah, we're done. And I got a Vive, and we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
We're playing that one together.
I mean, we could play that one. This is the cool thing about the way that the Vive's sensing system works, the way that the tracking works, is that when you set up Vive tracking, it can track multiple headsets and multiple sets of controllers just from the 2 lighthouses. You could do 2 lighthouses. You could do 4 lighthouses. You could literally, if you wanted to, bring everybody over to one house and have them all sit wherever you want them to sit, and they would be able to play together at the same time.
We're going to do that one. I promise you we're playing that one together. So it's happening. What was the other one that really got you?
The other one, it didn't really get me, but I knew it's been in development for a while because I've seen it before. But essentially, they have this other hawk flying game where everybody's a hawk, and you basically are playing like games of capture the flag with the prey. So somewhere in the level, there's like a rabbit or a chicken or whatever, and everybody has to go and grab it and take it back to their base.
Right.
In order to cap it as a flag, and then you can fight in the air. It's dog fighting and what have you. I think it's gonna do okay, but it's definitely not a AAA title from them. It has suffered, unfortunately, through the Ubisoft downgrade. The visuals from that game when they showed it off on PC, I want to say last year, right before all the systems were going to be coming out, like the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive.
Right.
It looked a lot better then. It looks a lot worse now, but I think it's still going to be fun and playable.
Okay. I'll tell you one. Did you see that Days Gone that's coming to the PS4, that zombie game with the running zombies?
Days Gone?
Days Gone. If you get a chance.
Was that the one where the zombies are basically like look like they were flowing water?
Yes, and they were like piling up on top of each other. That game blew me away. Okay, here's the thing. They show it to you during the first of it was right after God of War 4. So they show it to you at the Sony show, and you're going, that's interesting. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, these fools do gameplay at the end of the show, and it was just amazing gameplay. Another one, VR headset, while we're talking VR. This one looked great. EA, Battlefront, X-Wing Fighters.
Yeah, the PlayStation VR exclusive Star Wars title.
And I say this because that is a VR. I mean, we know it's going to be a VR exclusive. Didn't we just get something from Gabe Newell this week? Mr. Valve himself?
We did get a lovely letter that basically stated that Valve is going to start funding companies who need funding to be able to finish their VR games to keep them from the exclusivity deals that have been happening left and right with Oculus.
Yeah, because we're seeing a lot of those already popping up.
They're going to be able to take the money, develop their game, release it on whatever platform they want, so long as it's not exclusively on the Oculus Rift.
So as long as it works on both, they're good.
So they can put it on PlayStation VR, they can put it on HTC Vive, they can put it on the Oculus Rift, and then HTC is also going to start providing, I think they have $100 million worth of funding that they're going to start using to give developers the financial backing that they're going to need to be able to complete their games and release them. And they're going to be able to be multi-platform as well. So the good guys are finally starting to fight back.
I think that was cool. Now here's my thing. I think once before somebody said, hey, it's going to get away from exclusives one day. I don't think we're anywhere near that time. You know, because one, let's face it, there's just some games that Microsoft says our audience is very American and they're not going to play JRPGs. And until the day they invest in them, they're going to be exclusive to somebody's system.
Yeah.
And we just know that's just been traditionally what they've done. I don't see that changing. I did see, what else did we see there? What else? Man, we went through Gears. We saw that Days Gone. Nintendo, Legend of Zelda. That Zelda looked freaking amazing. Breath of the Wind.
Yeah.
Gorgeous game. But and what got me was they kept showing it, and it looked like it's a Wii U game, but is there talk that it was going to go to the NX in the future?
It's a Wii U game. I believe it's going to come to the NX later on whenever they decide to start actually talking about the NX.
Okay.
I think what it was is they didn't want to talk about the NX because the NX is so far off that it's not worth talking about at this point. It's either that or they haven't finished nailing down what they want to do with the NX. So they were like, okay, this entire presentation is going to be Pokemon and Zelda, and that's it. That's all we're showing at E3. My body is Reggie.
Yeah.
The Hawk game that I was thinking about, it's actually called Eagle Flight. It's Ubisoft's
cool.
Eagle Flight game. I just wanted to look that up because I know that I'm terrible with names.
Okay, cool, man. I'll have to keep that one. I'll Actually, did I just see a Sony emblem for that online?
For this?
Yeah, look at that. That's
Yeah.
a PlayStation experience. So, yeah, So is it going to be multi?
It's multiplayer. I think it's going to be coming out on PlayStation VR and for Oculus Rift. And if HTC, or not if HTC, but if Ubisoft holds true to what they did with the Star Trek game, it's probably also going to be on the Vive.
Sweet. Okay, Batman, Arkham, VR. We have one friend. I don't need to name the name, but that heifer's going to be Batman.
Leg shaking orgasms.
Yeah, she will be Batman.
Yeah.
She's done. It's
She already
a wrap.
is Batman, to be honest.
She is Batman. she is Batman already. And as soon as I saw it, I've never seen a game come out and see a trailer for a game and got happy for a specific person. There was one person in America who, when I saw that, I was like, I will buy that for them if I have to, but they will be Batman. That one person. Yeah, so I liked it. I'd be damned if they didn't make Call of Duty Advanced Warfighter or whatever it is, Infinite Warfare. It looked good. But you saw, I don't know if you paid attention to how they did it. They played it during the Sony show. And they just started showing this game. And it was this battle in space. And I had no freaking idea what it was. Because the way it played, I was like, is this the new Ace Combat? And people with me was like, bro, is this Ace Combat? What is this game? Oh my God, this looks amazing. What is this game? Is this a new Skyhawk? What is this?
Yeah.
What is this Warhawk? Is there a new one? Because the whole thing is in space. It looks great. It's a great battle. It's a lot of action going on. They're got these firing, these zip lines like Spider-Man and pulling yourself to stuff. I was like, this looks awesome. Wait a minute, this is Infinite Warfare? Did you just make me like a Call of Duty game for like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I was tricked into it.
This is again, it's scripted.
Yeah.
They can make that game look great so long as it's backed by scripting and nobody's actually in control of it. But once you start playing, it's going to be a chaotic clusterfuck, and I can guarantee it.
Yes, yeah, probably. It'll be like every other game that I've ever hated from them.
I think the part that we were watching was probably going to be single player and not multiplayer.
No, that's definitely a single player map.
Multiplayer in that game is going to boil down to you're just on decks of ships instead of in some shitty favela somewhere.
I'll tell you what did get me excited. Resident Evil 7. Obviously, they took some notes from PT, which was a PlayStation exclusive. That was the Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima game. You know, they took some lessons from PT. This is one of the most sought after demos, a playable teaser ever to hit a game that hit us last E3. Resident Evil is saying, oh, y'all guys don't want to make PT? Great. We'll go ahead and do that first person horror, and we'll take it back to our roots. I'm more excited about that. And to see that it's going to be a fully VR playable, that's hot. That's hot when they tell me you're going to be able to give me Resident Evil fully VR, first-person horror. I think that's something that we need to be tracking, watching where that goes. I know we don't have a lot of time left on this show, but there are we got some more titles to get into. How do you feel about South Park?
South Park looked fucking awesome.
I think everybody loves it, and I think we know what we're going to get, but it just felt like they gave us more than we expected. I don't know why I felt that way. That game showed me more than I expected from a South Park game.
Yeah. Well, they put together a great framework with Obsidian, and I'm not happy that Obsidian's not involved with this one, but they put together a great framework, and they know what they're doing, and they've added looks like some decent mechanics to it.
Yeah.
To the fights and things. So hopefully, I mean, we know that the writing's going to be solid. This writing's always solid when it's Matt and Trey working on something.
Yes.
I just worry that they may have added too many mechanics to it, or they may have kind of
there was a lot going on in that
formula.
gameplay demo. Yeah, there was a lot going on, but I loved it, man.
Yeah.
Didn't really think you could enrich that formula, but they're doing something there.
Yeah.
Definitely. Watch Dogs. Did you play the first one?
Unfortunately.
So you hated it.
It was not the game that I thought it was going to be. What I was hoping from Watch Dogs was I was hoping that Watch Dogs was going to be Deus Ex in an open world, and I got a shitty GTA clone with some quote unquote hacking abilities, where it didn't matter how I wanted to approach any situation. If I didn't approach that situation in the way that they wanted me to approach that situation, then it didn't get done.
Okay, I feel like that's fair.
There was no choice. There was no. It was the only choice aspect of it was the fact that it was open world and you could go from whatever mission to whatever mission you wanted to do. But the main storyline gave you no choice. You couldn't do anything other than exactly what they wanted you to do in the line that they wanted you to do it from A to Z. I think that the hacking aspects of it were kind of hacky or hokey or gimmicky. They could have probably been done a lot better. I don't have much hope for the second one at all. It just looks like more of the same crap that's just been kind of... They've put a little bit more polish on that turd.
Well, I've seen a lot of guys that got to play it. Here's what got me about that one. There was a big stink in the gaming community because some people were upset that the protagonist was black. And I thought, this is the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
So let me kind of see what's going on with the game. So then, because there was some stink in the gaming community because the protagonist was black, which really, gamers, I thought we were beyond that. I thought that shouldn't even been an issue. I think I started tracking the game more because of that.
Yeah.
Started watching the game more. I saw some stuff they were doing. I love it when a company hears the people that bought the game and the complaints, and they stay on social media and know what we're saying about the game, and they start actually trying to, hey, let's fix that. Let's address that issue. I feel like they did that. I feel like they're doing that with Watch Dogs 2, where it was just GTA. Let's face it. It was. But here's one of the things that I saw a guy talking about, and his favorite thing, he said in the short demo, I hacked phones, did some recon with a drone in the hipster-filled downtown area by Coit Tower before heading out to a much less affluent area in Oakland, where Marcus got to show off his stealth skills to grab some hard drives during a gang war. So one of the things that he goes into his story to talk about is that it seemed like it let him really have a lot more choice. I hopefully that's what's going to happen, because you remember in 2012 they showed this great ass game and then stripped it. That was not the game they released. They stripped all the good stuff from it.
That's what Ubisoft does. That's the Ubisoft downgrade. That's what I was talking about on Eagle Flight.
Yeah, they always do that to you.
They will show a game in a state that it would be playable on a PC, and then they will dumb that game down so that it will run well on a console, and then they will force that to be the release version for both platforms. Rather than saying, here's the console version, here's the much better PC version, buy whichever one you want. They want them to achieve some kind of fucking stupid-ass parity across these systems when, that's like if you took Usain Bolt and fucking gave him, I don't know, leg irons to go run a fucking mile, whereas the other guys didn't have to wear the leg irons just because Usain Bolt is faster.
Right. Yeah. Why should I limit what he can do? Yeah. And I want to like Watch Dogs 2, but like I say, I vote with my dollar. So if you burn me once, it's real hard to get me to come back for a second time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a game I was excited for. I was excited for the new Homefront. I really enjoyed the first Homefront. I still haven't bought the second one because you burned me the first time.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games where I'm kind of having to start second guessing myself. I'm still going to keep tracking it. I just want to see what's going to happen.
What I think I'm going to do is wait until it comes out, and then when it comes out, if it gets decent reviews from people that I trust,
yes.
If Total Biscuit gives it a fucking I like this game, I will go and get it.
Okay, yeah. It's definitely going to have to be places that I respect, that pretty much have been similar to stuff in the past. One you mentioned, and I think you really want this to go to PC. I know you want this game to go to PC. I really think it's going to be a PS4 exclusive. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a PS4 exclusive. I thought at some point that it was going to be coming out on PC. I looked at it a long time ago, and I thought, well, this looks fucking stupid. Because you're running around with a fucking bow and arrow shooting at goddamn robots running around in the forest.
That look like dinosaurs.
Like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then just the absurdity of that kind of grew on me, and then I looked at some of the stuff that was going on at E3 this year with it, and then I was like, okay, that looks okay. But, they're not going to release it on PC, then I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's a game that I've been kind of tracking it. It's like not in my must-buy week one purchases, but it is on my must-buy list for the PS4.
Yeah.
The game that I think you and I are both going to play, well, I know I'm going to play it. I know we got a buddy of ours named Draco that's going to play it. No Man's Sky,
Yeah.
and that is PC.
Yeah, that's going to be PC. I think it's going to be a whole lot of nothing.
I think you and I are splitting on this one. This is our one that we split on, really, like, drastically other sides of the room on this
Like,
one.
as an exercise, like, as a place to go and run around in a sandbox, sure, whatever. But the game has no content. It has no content whatsoever. It's got a bunch of worlds that are randomly generated by an RNG machine, and then it's got a randomly assigned flora and fauna to those worlds that are all recombinated. But that's it. That's the whole game. You're gonna pay $60 to fly around in a spaceship and have no objective, no lore, no storyline, no quests, nothing.
You're creating it as you go.
To
Me, I feel like when I'm in a spaceship and let's say I land on a planet. Now, this is a game where I had one of my friends say, well, I kind of want to be able to play with you guys. And I went, I really don't want to play with you. I like the idea of that I'm on a planet by myself. I discover it. I name the creatures there. And then I'm always trying to upgrade my ship. I'm creating, transactions and creating a business of trading and learning languages and discovering more planets.
But none of that's in this game.
Tracker. I feel that is what we're seeing. Everything we're watching shows me that's what we're tracking.
No.
You just refuse to say that's what it is.
No, look, none of that is in the game. The only thing that they have said that you can do in the game basically is fly from planet to planet and name shit.
Bullshit. They did say that there is an economy in there and that we learn the languages on those planets the more that you move around and travel. There is. You're just not. I'm getting you the video, and you're going to watch it. You're going to shut the fuck up, and you're going to play that game. You and I are this is the game that tears us apart. We will be best friends at the end of this show, but this game is the one that kills us every fucking time.
Okay. If you want to look at it from a Minecraft perspective, I'm over that type of game. I'm over survival.
Oh, God. And here's the thing. I can't even argue that it's not a Minecraft.
It's just a Minecraft clone in space. Like, if I'm going to play a game like that, I would rather play a game like Elite Dangerous or Robert Space Industries, Star Citizen. Those are the types of games that I would rather play.
Where it's on Steam, where the guys are out there building they built the cross out in space?
No, that's Space Engineers. That's just fucking around in space.
Okay.
Like, that's I mean, you can travel down to planets in that game, but it's not like a vastly super...
it's randomly generated worlds. To me, I think this game is going to be better than you think, and it may not be as great as I think. I think we're going to land somewhere in the middle when it comes out. And even if it does that, I still think it'd be a win.
I think if it had, and this is the problem with it, is that it's so expansive that you can't really put a story to it. But if it had a story, or if it had a way of having you play through a story mode or something like that, then I could see it. But I can't see spending $60 on empty space.
This is going to be the one. This is the one. It's the one where we're going to tear apart. But yeah, no, I see where you come from. I seriously do. No, all jokes aside, I see where you're coming from. But my thing is, for me, I think it speaks to something in me from young Roderick. 7-year-old Roderick who wanted to be kidnapped by a spaceship and explore space like Magellan and discover new lands. That game speaks to that inner 7-year-old still.
There is a game about the final frontier.
Do not try to bring this back to Star Trek. Because I don't want to be back in jail. I'm on probation already with you. Okay? We did have fun. I told you, this was one of my favorite holidays. I really get excited. I felt like this E3... for console gamers was better as far as content wise than the last couple years. I felt this was a better E3
for console gaming. Over in general, like Sony did its thing, and Sony was like, they listened to what people said last year, and they did exactly that. They just came out and said games. Yeah,
they did not play around. They were like, here are the games. This is what you want. This is what you were going to buy.
Yeah.
And I think they gave the people what they want. Microsoft, I think, did a great show. They had some highlights, but I was not as floored. Like, after the Microsoft show, I was like, hey, that was a really good show. I really did. After the Sony show, I was like, whoa, I need a moment, and I might have to smoke a cigarette. Some of that was a little bit more than I was expecting.
Also, we haven't talked about the elephant in the room yet.
Go ahead.
Hideo Kojima.
Oh my gosh,
I just butchered that name.
Yeah.
Butchered it.
Hideo Kojima,
Hideo Kojima. Sorry.
is Kojima Sensei.
Kojima-san.
Senpai, I wish you would notice me. I love you. Bro,
What the fuck was going on in that trailer?
he got millions of dollars from Sony and then made
He
his
used it on
Hollywood friend do some
motion
weird shit.
captioning a naked Norman Reedus. That's what he used millions of Sony dollars on.
Bro, let me tell you something. If Sony would give me a couple $1 million, I'm going to motion capture a naked Kim Kardashian and sell you something. Now,
Please don't.
Look,
Please don't.
I will bring more black and Mexican guys into gaming on PC because I'm going to make it a PC exclusive. I know what I'm doing. My company's going to be rich, and then I'm selling out to Microsoft. Okay. And they can have it after I'm done. But no, it was definitely, there was some weird shit going on in that one. I was just like, what?
So he
What's
wakes
going
up
on
on a beach, and it looks like it's a beach that's covered entirely in crude oil.
And then there were footprints and,
There were
and handprints.
Footprints and handprints that were in the oil, and then there were dead crabs, and then dead
was a
fish,
baby?
and then a dead whale, and then he was connected to a baby via
That he cried over the
something,
baby?
and then he held the baby up and he cried. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was supposed to feel.
Bro, here's the thing. It felt like somebody had dropped acid and like a Pink Floyd record should have been playing in the background somewhere. Like Pink Floyd should have been playing while we watched this. And we should have just been like,
Like, which
let
song?
your mind
Like,
go.
Just Another Brick in the Wall, or...
No, we're going to have to go way out there. We're just going to have to get some really experimental shit from Pink Floyd and just go, that's the soundtrack to this game. It was really crazy. I think, and here's the thing. When he came out, you could tell this man could give us the Smurfs VR and people would buy the shit out of it. Because
He could have just squatted on stage, man, and just
yeah, he could.
shit out a golden nugget, and everybody would have cheered and laughed and cried.
I lived my whole life for this. As they tore and rendered their clothes from each other and just like, this is it. I've lived for this. And I really...
It would have been like that scene at the end of Perfume. Have you ever seen Perfume?
No.
Perfume is this great movie. This guy is crazy. He makes sense, and he makes this ultimate scent that makes people go crazy and like start fucking each other. But he takes it at the like he pours it all over himself at the end, and then he has this entire orgy of people just tear him apart limb from limb.
Oh, craziness.
Yeah, that would have been what would have happened.
Craziness. Super craziness. Oh, I know one we forgot. And we're going to get into these real quick. I'm going to hit you with these. Insomniac Spider-Man game. How did you feel about that? Okay. How did you feel about the Crash Bandicoot? I felt like it's a little too late to be trying to bring Crash back.
Not really connected at all to Crash Bandicoot. Again, never played it.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, good. Would like to see more of it.
Okay. Skyrim Special Edition. Just go ahead and say what you feel.
Didn't care. I mean, I already have Skyrim Special Edition. It's called the PC version of the game. Yeah.
The fact that Elder Scrolls 6 is a long way off, according to Todd Howard.
Elder Scrolls 6 was always going to be a long way off. They start... So this is the way that Bethesda works. When they release a game like Fallout 4, they've already started pre-production on Elder Scrolls 6. They probably started pre-production with like 10 or 15 people like 2 years before Fallout 4 was going to come out. And then when Fallout 4 releases, that's when they turn the battleship on that other game, and then they'll work on it for another 3 or 4 years. So like Fallout 4 was a 7-year long process. And they started the pre-production on Fallout 4 as they went into full production on Skyrim. So I would say 4 years from now, we're going to be sitting in front of some very majestic castles.
Yeah. You know what? I'm more of a Fallout guy than a Skyrim guy or an Elder Scrolls guy. I'd much rather have guns than swords. That's just how I am, you know. So when Elder Scrolls drops, I'm never really like overjoyed for it. It never gets me. But you know, it's still one of those things that me and the rest of America are going to play it. You know,
I played the fuck out of Skyrim. I put 460 hours in that game, and I still boot it up from time to time, just run around and ride on my horse up the side of a mountain because I can.
Yeah,
like vertically, just
I think the big news was that they are like consoles are finally going to be able to get some mods, and like you say, yeah, we've had that on PC for years. So I think it was cool to see that. I was happy for the console gaming community that they're going to get that. But that was really about the biggest thing I saw. Dishonored 2.
Dishonored 2 is going to be good.
I don't care what you get that on. Choose your flavor and get that game.
I'm getting it on PC.
Yeah.
So the developers of that game is Arcane Studios. They're actually here in Austin.
Yeah.
Funny story. I was coming home on 183, and I went to get off at my exit, and I saw a Tesla up a few cars ahead of me right as I was going to get off.
Right.
And I noticed the license plate said Corvo, and I made sure to get up right next to it so I could see who was driving. So one of the guys from fucking Arcane.
Oh yeah,
home.
you said you saw him on the show, didn't you? He was on the E3 during the presentation. Yeah, you were like, "That's the guy with the car," and I was like, "Really? Okay."
So, but no, Dishonored. The original Dishonored. What's his name? Steve something. Steve H. I can't. I'm terrible with names. But one of the gentlemen who worked on that game worked on some of my very favorite other titles. He worked on Deus Ex. He worked on what was the other one? He worked on Invisible War as well. Harvey Smith, that's his name. Harvey Smith. He worked on Invisible War. He worked on the original Deus Ex, and then from there he went over and started working with them on the original Dishonored. He's excellent, and he brought exactly what I wanted to that original title, which was he basically remade Deus Ex in a different setting with powers from magic instead of powers from nanotechnology.
Right.
And it's a fucking masterpiece.
I like the new Deus Ex reboots that they've been coming out with. I'm pretty excited for this new one coming too.
Yeah,
I do. Quake Champions. What did you think of that one?
Provided it's not a hero shooter where everybody has their own specific power and it's actually just a rehash of Quake Live, I'll be happy with it.
Shadow Warrior 2.
Oh God. Okay, so if I ever started a game company, and I said this for almost 15 years, if I ever started a game company, if I ever got to the point where I knew what the fuck I was doing, I was going to make a sequel to Shadow Warrior. They made that sequel to Shadow Warrior, and then they've made a sequel to that game, and I'm going to play the ever-living fuck out of it.
Yeah. Then we both know we're going to be in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I just think that and Dishonored, I think, are games that you and I are going to be playing at the same time on different weapons, but we're going to be playing them at the same time.
Mankind Divided, I was not really happy with their marketing campaign for it, and that kind of put me off from wanting to even play the game. But as we're getting closer to release, I know that I'm going to play it. I don't know if it's going to be like a day one buy or if it's going to be it's not going to be a pre-order. I don't know if it's going to be a day one buy or if it's going to be I'm going to wait until this goes on a Steam sale and pick it up, but I'll definitely wind up playing it.
It's going to be in my collection. I'm not with you on that one. This one, as you know, I played Mafia 2. I got the platinum for it on PS3. Took me, maybe 80 hours, 96 hours. I grinded it out and did everything, platinumed it. Mafia 3 is coming. I like everything I'm seeing about Mafia 3. Plus, we're going back to where I grew up as a kid, New Orleans. New Orleans in a video game. Okay.
Seems like a weird setting for Mafia.
Not really, if you ever lived there.
I never lived there. That's not one of the places that you
think of the Mafia, you think Chicago, New York, maybe LA, a little bit of seediness.
Las Vegas.
New Orleans.
You don't think New Orleans.
New Orleans is seedy as fuck. Okay, first, it's the giant Catholic community, so we got a lot of Italians there, but they mix with like the French and the blacks and the Creoles and the Cajuns. So there's a seedy underbelly to New Orleans that's just, it's been ripe for the picking. Like, we could get a Grand Theft Auto New Orleans and I wouldn't even blink. I'd be like, that seems about right. Okay.
GTA NO.
Here's the thing about it. This is a state where in the 80s, a Grand Wizard for the KKK ran against one of the most crooked governors we had ever had. So it was David Duke versus Edwin Edwards. Now, they called it the Wizard versus the Lizard, and they sold T-shirts to this gubernatorial race. Okay? And here was the thing about it. The Wizard, David Duke, KKK Grand Wizard, had created the White Aryan Resistance or something crazy like that. He's pro-white people. That's his thing. He ran against Edwin Edwards, a man who had been known to take the gubernatorial limousine cruising through the LSU campus for co-eds. On taxpayer dollar, he's out looking for ass in the governor's limo. So, yeah, definitely we got some seediness there. I think we talked about Forza Horizon 3. We know that's going to be cool. State of Decay 2. I think that's going to be one of those Xbox games that may see some PC love. I think I'm going to play it if it goes to PC.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my PC games. Tyranny. That's a PC exclusive, I think. That was part of the PC gaming show.
Tyranny, you said?
Yeah, Tyranny. I think that one, if you hadn't seen it, I want you to add that to your list of games to check out, bro. You want to get some Tyranny in your life. It's one of those games. Is it even making our list here?
I don't even know if it's on this list or not.
I don't see it on this list. I do know there is one on the list that we didn't talk about, Titanfall 2. How did we skip that?
Oh, Titanfall 2. So Titanfall is getting a single-player campaign as well as a multiplayer campaign, and all the DLC maps are going to be free, which thank you, Overwatch, for putting that precedent out there, which I think is what made Titanfall and Respawn decide to do it too.
I think that's a great idea.
I think... So what it does is it makes sure that your user base doesn't get fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the main problem with all the Battlefield games and all the Call of Duty games and everything that comes out now is half the fucking maps are DLC and nobody wants to really buy them and nobody wants to pay the $60 premium price because then you're paying $120 for a $60 game, which is, I've had this other argument. We might have to cover it sometime later, but basically I think that large publishers want game prices to be $120 a game, but they're too pussy to pony up and just say this game is $120.
Nobody would buy it.
But they'll buy $60 and then $60.
Exactly.
So why not just make it $120?
Same reason that they sell shit for $49.99 and not $50.
If your game is worth $120, put your fucking nuts on the table and just do it.
I would love to see somebody come out and do it and just be like, that's ballsy. And I think we would all do the same thing. Let's see who's going to buy it now.
And you have all of that content up front. You don't do it as a release over the course of a whole year.
Let me ask you something. Are you a big shooter fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. Fallout 4 comes out and it's $129. Do you pony up?
Yes, I was going to do that just for the special edition of the thing that came with the
Pip-Boy, yeah.
The Pip-Boy. If it hadn't been sold out by the time I wanted to buy it, I would have one.
So if they would have told you, hey, we're going to give you this game, it's $120, $129.99, and you're going to pay that one price, but all the DLC that comes after this automatically drops to your account the day it releases.
Yeah, that's basically what I did anyway.
I think I would have done it too.
That's basically what I did anyway, because I bought the game, and then I bought the season pass.
Same day. You did it the same day?
Yeah.
So you bought it as one purchase, like that night when you got it, you took it home, and it was... We may be on to something. We need to look into this. How about we set up something and get some people... let's start talking to people about that. If a game was... In fact, if you're listening to the show, hit us up on our email, hit us up on our Twitter page, @GoTeamLift. We want to hear from you on this one. Would you pay for a game if it was $129.99, but it gave you everything up front? Definitely want to hear from our fans on this one. I think that's a great idea. You son of a bitch, you may be on to something here.
I mean, that's obviously what they want. If that's the price to get the full game, then that should be the price of the game when it comes out. You shouldn't bait people into paying $120 for something if they don't want to pay $120 for it. Either give it all to them or don't give it all to them.
I do know that there's going to be this. You and I know we're kind of running long here. We're going to be cutting out here in a little bit. I do know that there's one thing that you and I were talking about, and I think this always happens with us, is that we have those games that we say, hey, that was my favorite game of show. What would be your favorite game that you saw so far of E3?
I would definitely, unfortunately, have to say the Star Trek game from Ubisoft on VR.
Okay.
That's the one that I have the most excitement for if they don't fuck it up.
Okay, that's in my definitely top 5.
Yeah,
God of War when it came out, and I think because I'm so emotionally invested in God of War, and then to see that this character who had been so rough and gruff show this actually kind of sensitive fatherly side with a young son. I'm a dad, and my dad's gone, so it kind of hit me emotionally. It pushed all the buttons.
Didn't shoot you in the arm with an arrow.
I'm not saying they haven't wanted to. I had 5 girls. And when they were on their periods at the same time, they synced up. I'm not saying they didn't want to shoot me with an arrow. I'm just saying
if
I think
they
knew I'd have took them
wild
out.
horses, you'd have been drawn and quartered.
Oh, they know I'd have comboed them. They knew it. It was going to be a combo. Combo breaker. So, man, dude, I've had so much fun with you. We always kind of get together and do this. We had our picks. We love hearing from you guys. We thank you again for listening to another show. This was our E3 recap. And, man, if you have any suggestions for future shows, definitely hit us up. I think in the coming weeks, we're going to have some surprises coming up for you. We had a magical moment this week with some people that are going to be some guest stars in the future. We'll be talking about that at a later date. I don't want to put the cat out the bag, but we got some stuff coming up, guys. This is Roderick McDaniel
and Brandon Bowie.
And man, it's been a pleasure. You've been listening to the Team Lift Show. Peace. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page at GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages at Coach Silky and at Thighside. You can direct questions and comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.